It's the SKOR North Twins Show. Baseball.
SKOR North Twins Show, where your Minnesota Twins haven't lost a game in weeks. First team in Major League Baseball to reach 10-game winning streak on the season. Appreciate everyone that has liked and supported this channel. We've had a great uptick in surplus in subscribers and views, so thank you so much. When the Twins are hot, the Twins Show YouTube channel and podcast feed is also hot, so that's awesome to see. Appreciate that. We have some roster moves. Despite a 10-game winning streak, Simeon Woods-Richardson was sent down to AAA. I touched on that on an extra innings episode yesterday. I wondered if that could be the case, and they indeed pulled the plug, or at least send him down for now to AAA. I have some intel. I have some things that I've been able to dig on who could be coming up to take Sim's spot.
Scoop
what you get
monster
here
day.
on the SKOR North Twin Show. Before we get into that, though, a shout-out to North American Banking Company. In case you're looking for a new bank, you got to finance something, where should they go, Phil?
That's right. I don't know, maybe you're going to be called up to the major leagues. I don't know who's
right.
being. Well, I guess Funderburk is officially kind of for now. But you're going to have some more money in your pocket because you got that major league paycheck. You need a reliable local bank. That's where North American Banking Company comes in. Minnesota-based since 1998. 6 locations in the Twin Cities. And they'll help you with anything from checking, savings, all the way on up to if you're buying a home and you need help with the mortgage process, if you're launching a business or looking to finance something bigger, a project. Whatever it is, North American Banking Company is here with great cutting-edge online tools. They value personal relationships. You can find out more at nabankcode.com/Mackey, nabankcode.com/Mackey, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, so Simeon Woods-Richardson gets sent down. He had a rough start yesterday for against Baltimore. Twins gave him a 4-0 lead going into the bottom of the third. The bullpen had thrown 95 pitches already in game 1 of a doubleheader, so you needed length, needed an effective start from Sim. Unfortunately, fell behind to a bunch of guys, gave up a grand slam, gave up another home run. And Sim, in 8 games, 7 starts this season, has an ERA north of 5, not really getting a lot of swing and miss. So he gets sent down to AAA. Now, I think the doubleheader plays a part into this. Sim certainly hasn't been as effective as he was last year. But the Twins do need a starter for Sunday against Milwaukee right now. They don't have a starter because they had to throw Ober and Sim yesterday. So they need a starter for Sunday. Cody Funderburk for now will stay on the roster as they need as many arms as possible to try to get them through the weekend. So who is going to start on Sunday for the Twins? Obviously, the first 2 logical guesses, we can start with David Festa. So Festa hasn't made a start in St. Paul since May 6th. He was skipped the last time in the rotation with the Saints due to fatigue. So he is, for now, in line to start for the Saints on Saturday, from what I was told. But he hasn't made a start in 11 days, or 9 days or so. He was skipped because of fatigue. So I don't think it's David Festa. It certainly could be because, he would just be pushed 1 more extra day. But if he had some fatigue stuff, they probably want him to maybe stay in St. Paul. I think the logical choice is it probably is Zebby Matthews that takes the spot and makes the start for the Twins on Sunday. Zebby in 7 starts this year, an ERA, sub-2 ERA of 1.93. I will say in the last few games, he has been hit around a little bit. He's actually even walked a few guys, which I know is rare for Zebby. Andrew Morris is another guy that's in line that could start on Sunday, but he's also been a little rocky for the Saints at times this year. So I was told it's not Festa that's coming up here. It would make sense though for Zebby Matthews to most likely make his Major League 2025 debut with the Twins on Sunday against the Brewers.
And Zebby was great in spring training, right? Has I don't know if scuffled is the right word. He has not been flawless, certainly with the Saints. But yeah, that makes sense. Now, do we think Simeon's being sent down just to get right? Do we think that there is some concern there, not injury-wise, but just how he's been pitching? He clearly was not sharp in Game 2. That could have been a disaster, and it turned out not to be because baseball's weird, and 2 weeks ago things were going totally wrong, and now they're going totally right. But what do you think is the feeling on Simeon and where he's at?
Yeah, I mean, there could be a world where it's a 1 start for Zebby, but I don't think so. I think Simeon needs to go down there and kind of refine some things. He's getting hit hard a lot. This year, even opponents slugging 503 against him. Last year was just 385. He was really effective there, and the home run ball's killing him. He's falling behind guys, and he doesn't generate a lot of swings and misses. Again, I like his future. He's still, only 24, going on 25 years old, and he was a very important part of the Twins rotation last year, and he was called up kind of as a spot starter and then ended up keeping his job for the entire year. Mm-hmm. I think Zebby deserves a shot here. This is a good thing to have. The Twins have depth in their AAA that they can make a call to Zebby, who obviously showed some flashes last year. Festa's obviously been up here already and looked pretty okay in the first 3 starts he made. But I think Simeon goes down there and figures some things out, and then Zebby Matthews will hopefully maybe see on Sunday, and maybe he stays in the rotation the rest of the way.
Yeah, Zebby in the 7 starts for the Saints so far this year. I mean, he's not exactly pitching deep into the games. He's a kind of a 4 2/3. If you can get 5 innings out of him, all right, cool. But the most earned runs he's given up in any of his 7 starts is 2. So, and he doesn't really walk anyone. I think that was the knock on Zebby, just watching him, 9 or 10 starts last year, and even just with the Saints. He doesn't walk anyone. He's always around the plate, but sometimes he's like too much around the plate. And there's a balance between throwing strikes and trying to get ahead and throwing pitches to major league hitters that they can square up. I'm curious to see some Zebby here. I mean, just back to the 10-game win streak thing too. It's crazy. 2 years in a row, they've done the same thing. Mm-hmm. Where it's like the alarm goes off. Oh my God, we overslept the season. It's April 25th. We need to figure this out. Mm-hmm. Quick, go grab a sweatshirt, whatever, put your shoes on. And here they are, 13-20, all the way up to 20. Was it 23-20 now after the sweep yesterday? Completely changing the scope of their season. And I feel like as you're projecting out, it's hard to make room for 10, 12, 13 game winning streaks. But in baseball, when you have a 10-game winning streak, it literally flips your season around. And I know they're still sitting here behind a bunch of teams in the AL Central, and they're still 5.5 back because the Tigers are off to one of the great starts in their franchise history. But what a remarkable 2-week stretch here to completely jumpstart your season. And at some point, you'd like to think, fingers crossed, Royce Lewis is going to start to hit. And at some point in the second half of the season, you might be getting Matt Wallner back and maybe Luke Keyshaw back. And I know this is positive Phil speaking here, but if they can continue to stay above 500 and just hang around, they're likely to add pieces over the next 2 months. So congrats, Twins. You saved your season.
Well, but now the question really becomes, can you now just be consistent? As Trevor Plouffe says on Tuesdays, win series. Like the win streaks are great, that's fine, but win series. But then, more importantly, right now you always flash back to August of last year, right? So this team was playing well. It's weird because they took such a huge PR hit from the Comcast, from Bally Sports North at the time, right? Going off Comcast, which actually happened around the time that they were playing great baseball. And because of the PR hit, I think people assume, or people talk about last summer like it was a disaster, in June and July, which is not the case. It was not. But then you got to August, and they reverted to who they were early in the season. So I'm very curious to see the consistency here. And can you win series, but can you also take this now deep into the season just playing good fundamental baseball? That's my thing. Because that was so jarring last year. And you can't forget the start of this year. It can't be erased. You were awful. You were underachieving pigs, evidently, because now you're not. So I think there's a lot of questions now. Congratulations. You've got this back on track, it seems like. But one, the division is probably tougher than a year ago because now the Tigers have also emerged as a really good team. And 2, you still have a ton to prove. I hope nobody with the Twins, and I don't know this, but I'm just going to throw this out there. I hope nobody with the Twins is taking a victory lap of any sort.
Well, yeah, the bar is not be 3 games above 500
Right.
in May.
Well, or like we
This-
showed
this-
you.
This feels like it feels like a grand achievement because of how you dug yourself this hole. But yeah, like the next checkpoint is in 2 of the last 3 seasons, you have had historic collapses after the All-Star break. But one thing to point out process-wise, in case you're wondering, okay, which part is a fluke? Is it the first part of the first month? Was that fluky? Is the 10-game win streaks are sort of fluky by nature because it's baseball. You're not supposed to win 10 straight games. Right. But if you just take the entire 43-game sample here, the first month and a half, the Twins have the 3rd best run differential in the American League. The only 2 teams with a better run differential are the Tigers at a plus 86 and the Yankees a plus 81. And then there's a gigantic gap. And then you get to the Twins at plus 24, followed by the Astros at plus 21, Red Sox plus 15, and there's a couple other teams that are in the green. But it's the 3rd best run. It's a weird path to get to the 3rd best run differential and a 23-20 record. But right now, you could say that they're one of the small handful of best teams in the American League based on their process through 43 games.
And so they have 3 games against Milwaukee before they wrap things up today against Baltimore. But then they get home and they have 6 in 7 days against Cleveland and Kansas City. And even though the Twins right now are playing good ball, they have not fared well against the Central. They're Central Division teams. They're 7-10 against the Central. 4 of those 7 wins are against the White Sox. So they have 3 wins. They're 3-8 against everyone else. And last year, actually, because if everyone remembers, even though they were collapsing and backdooring their way out of the play or falling out of the playoffs, everyone kept saying, well, they had the tiebreaker. They're over the Tigers. They had the tiebreaker over the Royals. So they built up the equity in those series leads that if it came down to tiebreaker, the Twins had that case. Well, now you have to make some hay also in your division. Those division games end up being very important down the stretch of the season too, which is really interesting. So they got to take care of business against the Central. So you guys Phil brought up the fact of, hey, maybe you get Keyshaw back, Royce starts figuring things out, Wallner gets back. I mean, what would you add to this team? What would be something that if the trade deadline were tomorrow, I know it's not, but even projecting 2 months from now, what would be the number one need for this team? Because if they have the reinforcements coming, and I am usually always trade your prospects, trade the prospects that aren't your stars, and get someone here at the trade deadline that can help you push you over the top. I really like this team when it's healthy and fully at its highest power. And I don't know, especially with the Twins prospect pool being what it is, I'm kind of reluctant to give up on those guys and get a extra reliever in here, get in maybe another first baseman that's maybe a little bit better than Ty France. I'm in a wait and see mode. I'm not really jumping at the gun right now of they have to go get this position or they have to go get this to make them better. I know we're early still. It's May 15th. Things can change that, but I kind of like this team when it's at its 100th percentile.
Well, first of all, if the trade deadline was tomorrow, I wouldn't add a thing because I would walk in the clubhouse and say, okay, nice turnaround. Now prove it again and again and again. You don't deserve help yet. Like you don't. So if the deadline was tomorrow, I would basically say your start does not mean that I'm going to go get you help. You don't deserve help. So flat out, I'm still not happy. But the other thing is, I mean, if I was to add, I mean, you could add another starter, I guess, unless you totally think that Festa, because people are going to get hurt. So unless you think that Festa or Matthews are going to come up again and shove, I would probably look for a starter. I like the bullpen. I will say this: the Danny Coulomb signing looks absolutely genius. I mean,
it's been great.
Look at the upgrade from Thielbar to him. Like Thielbar
has he allowed a run yet?
No, he's been fantastic. He's been
good against
absolutely
righties. He's not just a lefty specialist. This dude is just as nasty against right-handed pitchers.
I also, depending on how things are going, though, I guess if I was to add a position player, I would look, if I could add a second baseman, I probably would. Because Keyshaw I like, but he's not that good at second. Brooks Lee, I think if he can settle there, the issue there is Royce going to stay healthy? Because if he doesn't, Brooks needs to kick back to third base. Castro, I don't like Castro being tied to any position. I mean, he made a hell of a catch in left. Now, I think if I start Castro in left for the next 15 games, he's going to start to struggle out there, but he made a great catch. He's a great versatile player. I like that. So if I was to add a position player, it would probably be a second baseman who I thought was not a black hole at second base.
I just think it's funny that 2 weeks ago, the three of us were sitting here trying to figure out how many guys could you move off this team for other teams' prospects. How quickly can you pick up the phone? Can you make trades in May?
Here's a question.
Can you dump Correa?
Here's a question, too. Don't forget, going back to the Molitor team that made the one-game wild card, that team in sort of a predicament of, I think they might be good. Don't know for sure. That team dumped. So, like, there is a question.
Well, they bought first, and then they lost a bunch of games in a week.
Jaime Garcia was bought for a start in Oakland, and then immediately flipped, which, by the way, I don't care about. But anyway, like, that team did. So, like, there is that question of does Derek Falvey say, yeah, you know what? I don't know, I believe this at the deadline.
I think part of the projection here is you've got to keep winning, or, obviously your win streak is going to end at some point, but as you're sitting here 23-20, can you, over the next 20 or 30 games, can you get a few more games over 500 and just be in a position where you can start to look out toward July and do some projecting for when, like, Wallner comes back and Keyshaw? We're still waiting on timelines. But I'm looking at, like, if those guys come back, what is solidified? Center field is solidified. I think Bader, even though Bader, his bat is going to cool off, he's going to play left field.
Yep.
And you can kind of live with his bat cooling off down toward the bottom of the order. He still provides spark on the base paths. He's an energy guy. Obviously, he's probably the best defensive left fielder in the game. I think the analytics would back that up, like defensive run save. So those are solidified. And then Wallner becomes your right fielder again, right? So when Wallner comes back, I'll ride with those three guys defensively, offensively. In the infield, you got to assume you're riding Royce Lewis. If he's healthy, you got to assume his bat's going to come back around, and, like, unless you guys want to fight me on that, like, if he's healthy, you're riding Royce Lewis.
Yep.
If Correa is healthy, you're riding him at shortstop. And then your biggest questions are second base, and I think Jeffers, getting the lion's share of plate appearances at catcher, like, you're not trading for a catcher. So the two positions in question on the position player side would be second base and first base. Well, Brooks Lee's bat has shown a lot of life. I think Brooks Lee has an above average OPS plus, or right around there, and plays above average defense with upside of being one of the top prospects in baseball. And then Keyshaw, not the greatest defensive player, but I actually wouldn't block those guys. I would let those guys, unless if this team was, like, ready to win a World Series for sure, okay, then let's stunt the development for a minute of a Brooks Lee. I want to see Brooks Lee I want to see him play a full season. And if second base is the position that's open, so by process of elimination, for me, it's kind of down to Ty France has been fine, but if your goal is to make a run in the playoffs, and he's a 30-year-old dude, like, you could make a trade and upgrade there if there's somebody available that makes sense. And I would even look at Larnach. Like, Larnach has shown a couple flashes as the DH, but he's not, like, untouchable. You could move Larnach to a bench role or something. Just a thumping bat at first base or DH are the two things I would look at. But otherwise, once guys get healthy, I mean, Keyshaw could be your DH too. He's done a lot of DHing.
I think he's, yeah. I think he is, from what I've seen at the Glove, I think right now he's a preferable DH probably. The one thing I'll say, and by the way, I would not, I'm with Dex. I would not make moves. It's not because I like this team. I just don't trust them at all. So, like, I would not make a move. But the one thing that I will say is if they're going to say that they can make the playoffs and win a series or two, unbelievable if they win two series. I am not assuming Correa and Royce are staying healthy. So I'm creating a bailout to Brooks Lee to go to short or third base.
But what does that mean? Like, you're not trading for a starter to take one of their jobs, right? So you're going to trade for, I would like to
get somebody who can play second base beyond Brooks Lee, who does not look like a circus sideshow playing second base.
I think Brooks Lee can play. Like, I think you're very quickly writing off Brooks Lee to play second.
Agreed.
No. Beyond Brooks Lee. What I'm saying is I'm assuming
you're trading for a backup infielder. Is that what you're saying?
What I am saying is I think Brooks Lee is going to end up playing a lot of third or short. I can't trust Royce yet, and I think Correa. I think something is wrong. I think inevitably something's going to. I think we're going to get to July, and he's going to go on the shelf for an extended period. This wrist thing is weird. Like they're hiding something there. Like Declan knows some stuff, but you don't know the full extent, which no one does. But between the foot problems and the wrist problem, I think Brooks Lee is going to end up playing short. So if I'm trying to win, quite frankly, I'm not going to make a move right now.
But and I agree with you then. Here's the thing. If Correa gets hurt again and is unavailable for the second half of the season, or if because I think his numbers are evidence that he's not feeling great.
Right,
he's too talented. He's in his prime.
Yes.
To be hitting like this and not have it be something physically wrong.
Correct.
So if you're in danger of losing him for a long stretch, it's going to be hard to compete at the top of the American League. You could still get in based on the playoff format. So
right. Sure.
how many resources do you want? The big question is, how many chips do you want to take off of a future table to pay this year's team versus playing it cool? Let this team do whatever it can.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, instead of trading away some guys that could really help you for the next 5 or 6 year window, you stand pat and you add those guys to the team in 2026.
From my end too, right now I would not stand pat. I would subtract.
You would subtract from this year's team?
Yes, I would still subtract. I would trade any pieces that I can to get a really good because so many teams make the playoffs now that there are teams that at the deadline do stupid, desperate things. I'm going to exploit them because I don't believe that this team has like an actual playoff run.
I mean,
good topic though.
I would probably stick with Brooks Lee and Luke Keeschall at second base. Number one, I want those guys to get at bats. So if that means that at times, if Keeschall's there, that there's some less than stellar defense on that position, that's fine. You also all right, they've got a plus defender in center field, left field, shortstop. Matt Wallner's a good right fielder. You're not going to be plus 10 at 9 positions. There's going to be some positions that you do have to cross your fingers on. That's baseball. So I'm okay with that. And then on Correa, the power is probably the more concern. Over the last 15 games, he's hitting 328. He's not driving the ball hard. He's not hitting home runs, but he is figuring out a way to at least put the bat on the ball. And you could move a Trevor Larnach if you wanted to. I don't think they'll do that still. But I'd much rather instead of and look, Cody Clemens might be the answer at as your pusher at second base.
Don't be fooled by false baseball prophets, man. We've seen this before.
I think we're gonna see Roger Clemens at Target Field though at some point this year, maybe.
Sure.
That's gonna be
him
cool.
and the wife. That'll be awesome.
That's gonna be cool.
It's a nice little run for Cody Clemens here. It's a nice little run.
But I'd be much more in the market to let the kids play than I am pushing to acquire a defensive stalwart second baseman to be ready to push someone else to hold that position down, basically.
Okay, I want to test Judd's willpower here, because you've already referenced the Molitor season where they looked at a team that was kind of in it. Strategically they made that trade for Jaime Garcia a week before the deadline, kind of so they could gauge what happened, and he made one start. They lost a bunch of games, and then they said, we're bailing. Screw you guys. You guys don't deserve it.
And they went nuts and made the playoffs.
And they did, and they got pissed. And Dozier spoke on behalf of the clubhouse.
Yes.
But they made the decision, we don't trust you guys, so maybe this motivates you, whatever. And it turned out to be the right decision, probably. But Harrison Bader how much do you, if you think that this team is fool's gold, would you trade Harrison Bader to a team that needs, he's having kind of a career first couple months, all things added up. He's on pace for a 4.5 or 5 wins above replacement season right now. He's got an on-base percentage near 400.
Yep.
He's the best defensive left fielder in the game. But he's 31 years. I know this is crazy talk for fans that are enjoying a 10-game win streak.
I hear you loud and clear. Yes.
But there is an example of a Twins team that kind of was Jekyll and Hyde from early in Derek Falvey's tenure. And if you were staying true to what Judd is saying, you would shop Harrison Bader in about a month from now. I think I think you have to be careful about robbing fans like they've been for 2 years. And he's one of the most fun players, and they are winning games. So I wouldn't do this.
Well, yeah.
But I think it sounds like Judd would.
I'd make some phone calls. No, I actually think a pitcher would get you the most. Like, I don't know. The problem with trading Bader is I don't know that you're going to get the requisite return. I'm talking about causing a team that's just absolutely panicked to make a stupid trade. And now I get like 2 top prospects because they are just idiots. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I don't think Bader, I think the issue with Bader is I don't think he would get you the return that we're talking about. Sure, and you can't flip him for, hey, we got a Class A prospect who is number 15 on the Baseball America list from the Detroit Tigers.
The good news is they have like a month to go before you get into real serious discussions, but they have completely flipped that conversation with this 10-game win.
This will sort itself out, I think.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
What about stoked barbecue pellets? I mean, you wouldn't trade those for anything, right, Judd?
Oh, hell no, and especially not this time of year, because, boys, let me tell you right now, it's barbecue season, and that means it's time to stock up on Stoked Barbecue Pellets, a company based right here in our great state, operated here. Pick up Stoked Barbecue Pellets, 50-count fire starter buckets. Stoked solid oak firewood, by the way, is perfect for your tabletop stove. Easy to use 5-inch pieces, will burn for 3+ hours. Don't forget the barbecue caddy, too, right by your side, because if you're a grill master, you're going to want that barbecue patty. You can find Stoked products at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Also, check out StokedBBQ.com to find their deal locator for all the other locations at which you can find their products. Stoked Barbecue Pellets, it's barbecue season, and that means it's time to, as Sports Dad likes to do this time of year, get stoked.
Hey, we're looking to raise some awareness here on the SKOR North Twins Show for an important cause. So suicide affects the construction industry quite a bit, like disproportionately. And we can all play a part in saving lives, make a difference for those who build our communities by hiking on Saturday, May 31st at Legends Crossings at Vikings Lakes in Eagan. Help spread awareness and understanding and send the message that help is available and raise funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can join the Construction Hike for Hope by visiting afsp.org/MN Construction.
Baseball.
All right, random twin of the week time here on the SKOR North Twins Show. Phil's going to give a series of clues. Last week, I won with Renee Tassoni.
Yeah.
Renee Tassoni. Before that, I believe we had Brian Harper, Harmon Killebrew, Danny Coulomb, our first active Twins player on the random twin of the week. Judd threw a Coulomb little fastball at us there that
curveball, right?
Curveball that caught us off surprise. So Bill has the clues. We'll see who can win this one here.
Yep. If one of you guys hits a third incorrect guess, a third strike, you're out, and the other person wins automatically. I have 30 career wins. You guys are a handful behind me here, jockeying for second place. So here we go. This random twin has an aunt, or an aunt, however you pronounce it, who's in the Women's Softball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So the bloodlines.
Wow, yeah.
Bloodlines.
Okay.
Coming out of high school, this random twin was hoping to draw the attention of Major League scouts, but at just 175 pounds, he was relatively underweight for his 6'2" height. So the scouts were like,
175 soaking wet.
yeah. Well, if you're big enough to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah. What type of scout looks at a kid coming out of high school, though, and says, "Oh, you're 175 pounds.
Baseball scout.
You're never going to get bigger, son. You're never going to get any bigger.
Old school baseball scout.
Your growth plate is done. I know about growth plates.
The most classic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So as a result, this random twin wound up going to college and was a 13th round draft pick.
Okay.
Eventually.
13th round pick.
Played 179 career games with the Twins.
Wow. That's a lot of games.
Still got no clue on the era here. No clue.
179 games. Okay.
What's kind of crazy, though, is this random twin made his major league debut against the Twins. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could barely see him. He turned sideways. He blew away in the wind.
That's right.
By then, he had dropped to 160 pounds.
Boy, the Twins are playing a team with 8 guys on the... Oh, wait, nope.
How? What scout sign that small? That too skinny guy.
Yes, that too skinny guy.
He's too skinny.
Let's go with this one. His best season with the Twins was 3.6 wins above replacement.
It's a solid year. I think this guy played more than 179 games.
His best season overall in the major leagues was 7.5 wins above replacement.
Whoa.
He was an all-star that year. He was an all-star.
You're talking MVP.
You know what's funny?
Top 10 or Cy Young voting that year. Like, wow.
He did receive MVP votes, but he was not an all-star that year.
Oh.
So I could dig deeper here. Maybe he was awesome in the second half, or I don't know.
Just a great second half for this young man.
Yep.
7.5 WAR. That's a hell of a season.
It's a big boy season.
Yeah, that's a large season.
It's a big boy season. Yeah, let me see it.
Impressive year.
And it wasn't with the Twins.
That was not with the Twins.
The 7.5
The 7.5 was not with the Twins. No. So if you take away, he had a minus 0.1 WAR win season because he was called up in September for the first time, which is when he debuted against the Twins. If we take that away, his worst major league season was 0.2 wins above replacement.
Got too thin again.
He played in 3 career playoff games with the Twins. And he played for 6 Major League Baseball teams.
Oh, I almost had a guess, but...
So 6 teams. Fairly well traveled.
Still don't have an era.
3 career playoff games is there's a lot of possibility there in Twins history.
I'll give you more on that.
Okay.
So his 3 career playoff games with the Twins were just a fraction of the career playoff games he played in overall, because he played in 71 career Major League Baseball playoff games.
Oh my God, who is this?
But never won a World Series.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know. This would be a fun research project. That's a lot of playoff games to have never won a World Series. I wonder what that list looks like.
Oh God, who is this?
So 3 career playoff games with the Twins, but 71 never.
His favorite player as a kid, according to the internet, was Dave Kingman.
Okay, I'll take a guess. Jim Thome.
Jim Thome is correct.
Damn it!
That's right. 175 pounds,
Dave
soaking
Kingman.
wet out of high school.
He's my age. Dave Kingman.
I'm about to say that clue had nothing to help me at all. I would like that.
Oh,
that
Dave
did
Kingman.
nothing
Wait, hold
for
on.
me.
Dex, tell us who Dave Kingman is.
I don't know who that is.
Once again, Declan
These
knows more
young
about baseball. Declan knows more about a lot of baseball stuff than I do.
Great mustache.
And yet there's these names that come up.
According to Declan's baseball mental encyclopedia,
But you know, some old school
nothing
guys-
happened before 1993.
Nope. Nope.
But
Damn it.
occasionally, some guys through your dad or something. Like there's occasional.
Yeah, I mean,
The look on Judd's face when Declan has admitted he doesn't know who Steve Lombardozzi or Dave Kingman are.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Well,
Lombardozzi one really offended Judd more. I mean, I get that. That was
because he was the second baseman on a World Series team.
I mean, Dave Kingman is one of the great power hitters in baseball history.
And one of the great jackasses.
Okay.
Just a terrible human being.
Yeah, Jim Thome was born in Illinois, I think Peoria, Illinois. He grew up a Cubs fan.
He did.
And so he probably watched Dave Kingman in the late 70s, early 80s with those.
The fact he never
Cubs
won a
teams.
World Series, now that you contextualize it, is incredible. I've never
He
thought
played
about
into
that.
95 and 97 with the Tribe.
Yeah.
And then he flirted with the Phillies.
He
Twins in 2010.
Yeah, he played with some really, really good teams. So
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. I did not realize it was 71 playoff games.
Yep. He also, according to Wikipedia, he is the ultimate 3 true outcome hitter in baseball history. He, by 7 percentage points, has the highest percentage of plate appearances that ended with a home run, a strikeout, or a walk.
Oh, love the batting stance. Love the point.
Yeah. The point was to calm him down in college.
Yeah.
He would get too excitable at the plate, so it was like a reset
and then
mechanical
he forced his
thing.
way out of here.
So you're telling me that guy was 170 pounds out of high school. According to his baseball reference page, he was 6'4", 250.
Yep.
That is some weight to put on, homie. That is some weight.
It is,
growth plate. It's all about the growth plate.
That's right. That's right. All right. Hit the like button and subscribe button here. You can figure out next week which other guy from the 70s I don't know here on a Random Twin of the Week. Appreciate you guys. We'll be talking at you soon.